Hello and welcome to the ICS Health and Wellbeing home workout for the NHS Diabetes Prevention Programme. This exercise routine will help you work towards your overall health improvement goals, and it will support you on your journey to reducing your risk of type 2 diabetes.
We have carefully designed this workout to focus on as many muscle groups as possible and have split it down into two 10-minute sections in order for you to fit it around your lifestyle. During this video, we will take you through a warm-up, the two 10-minute sections with a small break in between, and the cool-down. We have 3 coaches with us today.
So my name is Becky and I will be doing the standard version of each of the exercises you see today.
And my name is Samuel, and I will be doing the progression of each exercise. If at any point you feel like you are struggling to do the standard version, follow my movements.
And my name is Rosie, and I will be doing the progression of each exercise. If you're feeling that you're not working hard enough during the standard exercises, then follow my movements to add a bit more challenge to your routine. Remember, you can do any of these movements during the routine. Make sure it's personalised to you and you're working to your own ability level and not pushing yourself too far. Hopefully you have a resistance band to use for the routine. However, if you don't, you could use household items such as tins or water bottles as a replacement.
It's important to recognise your limitations and any underlying health conditions. Talk to your doctor before beginning any new exercise routine if you have any health concerns. Check the equipment and the surrounding area for where you're exercising. Move anything out of the way which could be a hazard or cause you injury. If you notice anything that's wrong with your equipment, it's really important that we don't use it. So resistance bands, they don't last forever. If they look damaged, it might be time to get yourself a new one. Ensure you're wearing correct attire. Now, you don't need all the latest gear to take part in physical activity, but it is important that you're dressed appropriately. So even if you don't have trainers, make sure you are wearing flat-soled, comfortable, supportive shoes, along with clothing that you feel you can move in and are generally comfortable in. Drink plenty of fluids before and during exercise. Water will help to keep us hydrated whilst exercising. So perhaps keeping a water bottle nearby so you have access to water when you need it is a good idea. Warming up is really important. It helps us to prevent injury. It also helps to get our blood pumping around the body. The blood will deliver glucose to your muscles to use as energy, so this is really important. A cool down is also important to stretch our muscles after exercise. This also helps us to prevent injury. Cooling down increases our flexibility also if we can try and hold the stretch for longer than 30 seconds. With any of the following conditions, your doctor may have already given you specific advice in regards to exercise, but here are a couple of pointers. For anyone with cardiovascular disease or high blood pressure, avoid holding your breath whilst exercising and avoid isometric contractions. Begin exercise at a moderate intensity for you. For anyone with arthritis, osteoporosis, avoid motions that cause a repetitive impact on the joints, so things like jogging and jumping. Anyone with fibromyalgia or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, avoid vigorous exercise. Keep it at a moderate intensity for you. This exercise video should be appropriate for anyone suffering any of these conditions, but generally please start off with a more moderate intensity. There's always next time to work through the progressions and increase the amount of effort we're putting into our workout. Okay, so let's get started. First we'll start with our warm-up. Remember, it's very important to warm up before we exercise, as it helps prevent injury and gets our body ready for the upcoming workout. Each warm-up movement will be performed 45 seconds with a 15-second break in between to allow you to get reset and ready for the next exercise. So the first exercise we're going to do for our warm-up is neck rotations. This is really going to help us to mobilise all the muscles around the neck and get us ready for our exercise. So we're going to begin that now. We're going to rotate all the way around to the left, hold for 1, 2, 3, and then rotate back towards the right hand side. 1, 2, 3. We really want to make sure we're sitting up nice and tall here and keeping our core engaged and keeping your belly button pulled in.
So I'm doing the regression, guys. So simply just moving the neck with a smaller range of motion.
And I'm doing the progression. So if you want to twist your neck a bit further, please do so.
So whichever version you're doing, make sure you're keeping your posture, your shoulders are down, and enjoy that feeling of movement through your neck. Brilliant, and we're resting there. So we've got 15 seconds now before we get set up for our next exercise. The next exercise we're going to be doing is spinal twists. And this is really going to help to mobilise all throughout your spine before we begin the exercise. So our next exercise, spinal twists, we're going to place our right hand onto our left leg and we're going to slowly rotate around to the left-hand side. We're going to hold it there for about 3 seconds and then rotate back round to the other side.
So again, guys, I'm doing the regression. So that means I'm rotating my spine with a smaller range of motion.
I'm doing the progression. So I'm doing this twist in my spine with a larger range of motion.
So this is a really good exercise to mobilise your spine. So pay attention to how your body is feeling. Sometimes it's a bit tighter than others. Sometimes we feel a little bit more loose. We're going to keep going one more time. And that's brilliant, we're resting there. So have a rest, we're going to get set up for our next warm-up exercise, which is shoulder circles. Okay, so next up we've got shoulder circles. So we're going to place our arms down by our side and we're going to start taking big circles forwards. So really open up the shoulders here, nice big circles, and feel that mobilisation through your shoulder joints.
Good stuff. So you have the option of placing your hands on your shoulders and creating smaller circles with the elbows.
If you're finding that's a bit easy, feel free to stand up and do bigger rotations. We're now at the halfway point, so we're going to go backwards now. Same movement.
So this is a great start exercise to warm up those shoulder joints before we get into our more strenuous exercises. So take your time here to feel that mobilisation all through your shoulder. A few more to go and rest. So shake it out there and we're ready to get ready for our next exercise. So next up we're doing ankle circles. We're going to really help mobilise the ankles before we start our workout. So lifting the leg up, we're going to start rotating the ankle round in some nice circles there.
So as you can see, I'm using my hands to support my core to make sure I'm sitting up upright, and I'm creating smaller circles with my feet.
If that's too easy for you, then stand up, but maintaining good balance with your opposite leg. Now we're about halfway, so let's switch legs and circling those ankles.
So we're really making sure here we maintain a good posture, we don't let the shoulders collapse forwards, keep sitting up nice and tall. We're nearly there, we've just got just over 5 seconds to complete this exercise, so keep going, we're nearly at the end. Good, and you can place your foot down and you can rest there. The next exercise we're going to be doing for our warm-up is toe taps. So take a shake out, get ready for the next one. Okay, so our last warm-up exercise is toe taps. It's going to help you to mobilise the lower part of the body. So we're going to begin with the left leg, we're going to tap forward, come back in, and then go to the right.
So this warm-up exercise is quite challenging on balance. So for this one, you can remain seated if you want. And you can use your hands on your chair to give you some support so you can sit up tall.
If you're finding that a bit easy, feel free to stand up as well, but also get your biceps in there so it creates a full body warm-up.
Yeah, so that bicep addition is really good. So if you want a little bit more of a challenge in your seated position, feel free to use the biceps as well. So, just like this, guys.
So hopefully we're starting to feel nice and warm. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of our warm-up exercises. Brilliant. Have a rest. So now is a good time to take a sip of water. You've finished your warm-up, so hopefully your body is starting to feel nice and mobile, our heart rate is slightly elevated, and we're ready to begin our workout. So our first exercise is sit to stand. This is a lower body strengthening exercise. It's also going to elevate your heart rate a little bit. So we're going to push up through the heels and come up into standing, and then lower ourselves carefully back down into the chair. I'm not using my hands for support in this version of the exercise.
Perfect, so I'm using my hands just to give me a little bit of support on the start of the movement, and I'm using my hands to guide myself back into my seat.
If using a chair is too easy for you, feel free to do a regular squat. Imagining you're sitting on a chair, but remember to maintain good posture and your chest facing forward.
Keep going, driving up through those heels each time, big push into the standing position. Got a few more seconds to get a couple more reps in, and then we'll be resting. Brilliant, there we go, that's our 45 seconds of sit to stand, our lower body strengthening exercise. So have a rest there, and then we'll be getting on to our next exercise. So our next exercise is external rotations. It's an exercise for the shoulder joint. So we're using bands for this one. I'm going to make sure my elbows are by my side, and I'm going to externally rotate out my arms.
So if you don't have a band available, feel free to do this exercise without a band. It's just as effective.
So when we're doing our shoulder rotations, make sure that your elbows are tucked into your sides and you're not letting them fly away like so. Keep them nice and close and a nice upright posture, opening your shoulders out, looking straight ahead.
So this is quite a tough exercise, it's quite a hard one, so try and keep going. I know it's hard, we've only got just over 10 seconds left. So maintain that posture, maintain that core control, and keep those elbows tucked in once we rotate out at the shoulder joint. 3, 2, 1, and rest there. So that's the end of our external rotations. Have a rest, shake out those arms before we go on to our next exercise. Okay, we're back for another lower body exercise next. So we're going into marching. So from a seated position, I'm going to be marching my feet up and down, and I'm going to be getting my arms involved as well with the movement. Maintaining my shoulders nice and upright, keeping that posture.
Perfect, so if staying upright is a little bit challenging, feel free to hold the side of your chair for some support.
And further from that, feel free to stand up. And what we can also do is get your arms involved for a full body workout. Remember to drive your knee up as high as you can, getting everything involved.
So this is a great exercise not just for lower body strength, but it's also a good one to get that heart rate elevated. So we're getting a good cardiovascular workout at the same time as we're strengthening through our legs. Keep going, a couple more seconds, and we're resting there. So that's the end of our 45-second work period. We can have a rest now before we go on to our next exercise, which will be an upper body exercise. So we give those legs a rest for a minute. Okay, so our next exercise is bicep curls. This one is really going to target the muscles in the arm. So I'm going to place the band underneath my feet, sitting up nice and tall and towards the edge of the chair with my elbows by my side. I'm curling up and controlling back down.
Yeah, so guys, if you don't have a resistance band, you can actually do this without it. So just focus on really squeezing the biceps at the top and controlling your arms back down.
You can do this while standing as well, and it creates more resistance, so it's a harder workout. When you are standing, remember to have one foot in front of the other and keeping both knees bent.
So really make sure when you're doing this exercise that you're completing it in a smooth and controlled motion. So control the band as you lower it back towards your feet. We're nearly there, we've got 5 seconds left, so keep working. 3, 2, 1, and we can rest there. That's brilliant. Shake it out, have a rest before we go on to our next lower body exercise. Okay, so the next exercise we're doing is our leg press exercise. It's a great exercise for strengthening the lower body. So I'm going to loop the band around the middle of my foot, making sure it's on there securely. Make sure I've got a good grip of the band, keeping my hands still. I'm going to be pressing the leg forward and bringing it back into the chest. Because I'm using a band for this exercise, I'm going to make sure I switch legs halfway through.
Yeah, so if you don't have a band, don't worry, you can still perform this exercise. The key thing is to use your arms to support your upper body and focus on really squeezing that quad when you extend the leg out.
Or you can alternate your legs while doing a lunge, and if that's too easy for you as well, feel free to let go of your chair, focus on balance, deep lunge, forwards and backwards.
So we're nearly there. 3, 2, 1, good, and rest. Hopefully feel a nice burn through the legs there, feel them getting stronger. Have a rest before we go into our next exercise. So the next exercise we're going to be doing is tricep extension. We're going to work the muscles in the back of the arm. So I'm using a band for this exercise. I'm going to place the band onto my leg and then securing with my other hand, I'm going to extend it back behind me. I'll show you this exercise side on so you can see how my arm is moving. And because we're doing one arm at a time, we're going to make sure we switch halfway through the time.
So I'm using my right arm for support, but if you don't have a band, you can perform this exercise without it. Just focus on squeezing the elbow back and really contracting the tricep muscle.
Or you can try it in a standing position, making sure that one foot is in front of the other and you've got your elbows tucked in and pushing your hands right back, maintaining a good upright posture.
So you might feel a little bit of a burn there in the arms, that's all good, that's the muscle working. And we're done, that's our 45 seconds. So have a rest there, shake out those arms. We're going to be going on to a lower body exercise next, so we give those arms a rest for a minute. So next we're going to work our abductors, so the muscles in our glutes, our bum. We're going to take our band, tie it around just above the knee. So loop it around, make sure we tie it nice and tight so that it's supported and it's not going to come loose. Then I'm going to place my knees a little bit further apart and pulse the legs outwards.
So you can perform this without the band. All you need to do is place your hands behind you to give you some support and step in and out with control.
Good, so keep going, keep pulsing, nice and smooth controlled movement. We're nearly there, we're nearly halfway, so Rosie's going to turn around now and explain what she's doing with the progression of the exercise.
So this is the standing version, where we have our supporting leg, so it's not locked in like so, just nice and steady, and just lifting the other leg straight outwards like so. Holding onto the chair for some extra support if needed.
We're nearly there, keep going. 3, 2, 1, well done. Rest there before we go on to our next exercise, which will be an upper body exercise next. Okay, so our next exercise is the chest press. It's going to work the muscles in the chest. So I'm just going to talk you through all 3 of these progressions and regressions of this exercise.
So I'm doing the regression exercise. So with the band tied around my hands, I'm going to place it on my back and I'm pressing forward and controlling back in. So be careful not to let the band snap the arms back, keep it controlled in both ways. The standard version that Becky's doing is on the wall. So she's taking a step back, feet hip distance apart, keeping the core engaged, and she's controlling her body towards the wall and pressing out with control. Rosie is doing the progression of the exercise as well. So she's using a stable table, which is very important. She's controlling herself down and pressing back up. Again, keeping your core engaged. So we're nearly there, guys. 2, 1, and relax.
So shake out those arms. We're getting ready to do a next lower body exercise next. We're nearly there, you're nearly through your workout. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to be doing is calf raises. This is working the muscles on the back of your legs, the lower portion of your leg. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can get a better view of what I'm doing. Standing feet hip width apart, holding onto the chair for some support, and I'm coming up onto my tiptoes and with control and coming back down again.
So if you do have any balance issues, you can remain seated, control your movement, sit up tall through the spine, and control the heels up and back down.
In my progression, I'm just doing the exact same motion, but without using the hand for support. This is really good for full leg stability and balance.
So as as with any of these exercises, pick the version that is right for you. Make sure you're being challenged, but it's an exercise that you can comfortably complete. Okay, brilliant, we're there, that's 45 seconds. So have a rest, shake your legs out if you need to before we get ready to go on to the next exercise. Okay, so next up we're doing our lat pull down. We're all going to be using a band for this exercise. So we're going to take a grip on the band about this far apart, bring the hands up above the head, and then keeping the shoulder blades squeezed together and drawing them down our back. And then controlling as we come back up overhead.
If you have a little bit of stiffness in the shoulders, feel free to control the band down in front of the body rather than behind.
When you're doing the standing version, make sure that you have your core activated, nice and tight, and looking straight ahead with a good posture.
So as you get tired, it is common that our posture will start to drop, so really make sure that's at the forefront of your mind. Keep those shoulder blades squeezing together and drawing down your back. We're nearly there, this is a tough one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest there, that's great. Have a rest and get ready for your next exercise. Okay, so we're into our second round of exercises now, and we're going back to our sit to stand. So again, I'm pushing up through the heel, I'm not using my hands for support here. This is a great exercise for building lower body strength. It will really help you when you're out and about, getting out of low seats, low chairs, perhaps in restaurants, cafes, places that you're not used to. So it's a great exercise to keep practicing.
Yeah, definitely. So lower body strength is very vital for everyday movement. So getting your strength up is really important.
Halfway there, guys. So if you're going to be doing the full squat, just remember to maintain your technique. Make sure that your knees are not going over your toes, keeping a nice straight posture, your knees in line. 5 more seconds.
And there we are, that's the end of that exercise. So hopefully your legs are feeling nice and warm now, and definitely feeling our legs working. So have a quick rest before we go on to our next exercise. Okay, so we're on to our second round of external rotations next. So again, elbows by the side, and we're rotating those palms outwards to get a nice rotation through that shoulder joint. This is a great one for posture, really, really helpful to making sure we're standing nice and tall.
Yeah, exactly. So this one is really good for the posture, right? So as we start to get older, we start to hunch over, which can affect our balance. So if we're able to maintain this position and really work those shoulder muscles, it's going to help us keep our center of balance where it needs to be.
Just remember to keep your elbows tucked in by your side and don't let them fly away. And also try and get your shoulder blades in your back, feel a nice pinch.
Okay, we're nearly there. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Oh, that's a good one. It is a tough one, so well done on completing that one. Have a quick rest before we go on to our next exercise. Okay, so we're in for round 2 of our marching exercise. So again, we're marching up and down from a seated position, and I've got my arms going with me to help it a full body workout for this exercise.
Yeah, and this exercise is really great for the hip flexor muscles and the lower abs. So if you want to develop some core strength and stability, this one's really good for that as well.
This exercise can be in a standing position, starting with our hands by our sides and then progressing to get our arms moving. Focusing on trying to drive our knees up towards the ceiling, maintaining a good posture.
This exercise is one you can do just to reduce your sedentary time. So if you're watching telly, you can add in this marching from a seated position, reduce the amount of time you're spending sitting during the day. Okay, let's rest. We've done 45 seconds. So shake it out, have a rest before we go on to our next exercise. Okay, so we're ready to start our next round of bicep curls. So again, I'm placing the band just underneath my feet. Make sure I've got a good grip on the bands, sitting up nice and tall, and we're curling up. So this is a great exercise for your functional fitness, so helping you with day-to-day activities, things like carrying the shopping from the car back to the house, or even if you're walking to the shops, will help you carry those bags home.
So like the first time, guys, if you don't have a resistance band, just find anything in your house with a little bit of weight, and you can use that to add resistance to the movement.
A really good way to increase your resistance is holding the band closer to your feet, so it's nice and tight.
So we're probably feeling a nice burn all through your arms now, I know I am, and we're nearly there. We've got just over 5 seconds left, so keep working hard, keep going, we're nearly there. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Brilliant, well done. Shake out those arms and we'll get ready for the next exercise. Okay, so we're ready to start our second round of leg press. So again, I've got my band, I'm going to loop it around the middle of my foot, holding the band nice and securely. I'm pushing away, bringing the leg back in. Again, I'll be switching halfway through to go onto the other leg.
Yeah, and this movement is really great for the lower abs and hip flexors, even though we're focusing on the quads as well.
So this is also a great exercise for our functional fitness. So things like climbing stairs can often become quite tiring. This is a great exercise for strengthening your legs, making sure you've got the stamina when you're out and about to do the things that you want to do and continue all your leisure activities. So keep going. I know it's a tough one. We're nearly there. We've just got 10 more seconds on this leg and then we'll be resting again. So keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and brilliant, rest there. So that's our last round of leg press. Have a rest before we go on to our next exercise. Get some water if you need to. Okay, so ready for our second round of tricep extensions. So I'm going to place my hand again onto the band, securing it there, and then I'm extending back from the elbow. Again, we're going to make sure we switch arms halfway through this exercise.
Yeah, so again, focus on really squeezing the muscle for a second and controlling the back. Breathing naturally as well, guys.
When we are in the standing position, remember that we will be having a bigger range of motion. So make sure that your motions are nice and controlled. Squeeze your elbows back.
So again, making sure we've got good posture here. So keeping your shoulders up, keeping your chest proud, making sure you don't start to round as we get tired, which can often be the case. We're nearly there. We've got just over 5 seconds left. So your arms might be starting to get tired. That's okay. Try and keep going. We're nearly there. And rest, brilliant. So that's the end of that exercise. Have a rest there before we move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a lower body movement again. Okay, so we're ready to go into our second round of abductions. Again, I'm taking my band, I'm going to tie it around just above my knees, making sure again it's nice and tight and secure throughout the exercise. So my knees are slightly apart and I'm pulsing outwards. So this is really working my abductors, which is going to help secure my balance, but also the the joints in my knees and hips.
Okay, so I'm using my hands for a little bit of support and I'm stepping in and out with control, making sure that I'm using my core to stabilize myself.
So we're nearly there, we're nearly at halfway. Okay, so Rosie's going to turn around and again just explain what she's doing with the progression of the exercise.
So with the standing version, we're using our supporting leg, so it's not locked in like so, but a slight bend to have support. This will be working the outside of both legs, which is really important as when we age, we're at risk of falls, and this will help with our balance.
Brilliant, that's your 45 seconds done. So take off the band, shake out the legs, and get ready to start the next exercise. Okay, so next up we're doing our second round of our chest press exercise. This is working the muscles in the chest, and again, Salma is going to be talking you through the benefits of this exercise whilst we all carry it out.
Perfect, so remember those key points, guys. So if you're using your chair, sit up tall through the spine and control the movement in both directions. And if you're on the wall or using the table, you have to place your feet shoulder width apart, keep the core engaged so that your lower back is stable, control the movement down and press out. This exercise is really good for the upper body, the chest and the arms. So if you can imagine, pushing a door is a movement that's going to work these muscles, or maybe getting out from your bath works these similar muscles. So it's very important to make sure they're strong and can endure daily activities that you go through. So nearly there, you've got 5 seconds left. 4, 3, good stuff guys, 2 and 1. Perfect.
Okay, we're going to shake it out and we'll get ready to go on to our next exercise. Okay, so we're ready for our second round of calf raises. Again, I'm going to turn onto the side here so you can see what I'm doing, holding onto the chair for support and pushing up onto the tiptoes and lowering back down again.
So the second time round, guys, really focus on engaging the core and focusing on breathing normally.
Trying to maintain upright posture, make sure that everything is in balance and in line.
This is a great exercise for strengthening your legs. As we said before, strong legs are important. They will help us with our daily activities. They will help us with endurance when it comes to spending a lot of time on our feet. So it's one that's really worth practicing and building up your strength for. Again, we're always making sure we're nice and controlled with our movements. We're not trying to rush anything. We're really making sure you work the muscles and are aware of how our body is feeling. Brilliant, that's the end of your 45 seconds. So that's our last set of calf raises. Shake those legs out and we'll get ready to go on to the next one. Okay, so we're on to our second round of lat pull down. Again, I've got a good grip on my band. I'm going to keep it taut throughout the exercise. So I'm drawing the elbows down and then controlling as I bring the band back up overhead.
Yeah, so remember you can always vary the intensity of this exercise by simply bringing the band to the front of the body or holding it a little bit looser for a little bit less resistance.
Remember to really pinch those shoulder blades, get it nice and tight, and also to try and keep your elbows nice and bent when we are at the bottom of the exercise.
This exercise is really good for strengthening the muscles in our back. Those muscles help us with any pulling movement that we do. So if you think about pulling open a heavy door, these are the kind of muscles that will help us with that motion. Brilliant, have a rest. That's the end of that exercise. Shake out those arms and get ready for the next one. Okay, so now we're all done with the main exercise routine. It's very important that we cool down next to prevent injury. So as we mentioned earlier, if you wish to work on your flexibility, perhaps try holding the suggested stretches for over 30 seconds. For this routine, we will be holding each of the stretches for 20 seconds. Okay, so the first stretch we're going to be doing is a hamstring stretch. Your hamstring is your muscle down the back of your thigh. So to do this one, we're going to take one step forward, keeping the leg nice and straight and bending that back leg as we lean into it.
So with all these exercises, I'm going to perform the seated version. So if you have any balance issues, just follow what I'm doing.
Okay, so we've got another 10 seconds to hold on this leg before we switch over to the other side. So 3, 2, 1, and stand up there, and we're switching over. So this time, step out your right leg, again keeping that one straight, and we're bending the other side as we come down into our stretch. And again, we're going to be holding for 20 seconds there. So when you're stretching, you should feel the stretch along the back of your leg, but you shouldn't feel uncomfortable or in pain at any point. If that feels like it's the case for you, then perhaps ease off the stretch a little bit there. So we're nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, that's our hamstring stretch complete. Okay, so the next stretch we're going to be doing is our chest stretch. So I'm going to turn sideways on so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to interlink my fingers behind me and then stretch out behind me.
So if you do have a chair, make sure you get one without any handles so that you can swivel to the side and actually raise that arm as high as you can.
So we're holding here, we're going to hold for 20 seconds. So we've just got 5 more seconds to hold that stretch. Okay, so shake the arms out, have a quick rest for 10 seconds, and then with this stretch we're going to be doing it twice over. So interlink the hands again behind you, and then when you're ready, we're reaching back and feeling that stretch across the chest.
Making sure that you're looking straight ahead, opening your chest out and breathing.
So your chest muscles are involved in any push movement, including the chest press that we've done today, so it's important that we stretch these muscles out. Good. Okay, so the next stretch we're going to be doing is for our quadriceps. That's the muscles down the front of our thigh. So I'm going to turn to the side again so you can see me. I'm going to hold on to my left foot, bring my heel in towards my bum, keeping my knees together.
So I'm just moving to the edge of my chair, taking hold of my leg, performing the stretch in a stable position.
So again, we're holding for 20 seconds here, so just a few more seconds left before we shake out this leg. Brilliant, and we'll shake it out there. We're going to go over to the other side and stretch out the right leg next. So turn, if you do feel unstable, you can hold onto the wall for a little bit of support. So bring that heel in and pull it nice and tight.
Remember to maintain an upright posture, looking straight ahead and giving the foot a bit of a pull to feel the stretch down the thigh.
Yeah, we're nearly there. We're just holding 5 more seconds. Feel that stretch down your leg. And good, and shake it out there. So the next one we're going to do is our inner thigh stretch. So I'm going to take a bit of a step out towards my left-hand side, bending this knee, I'm going to sink down into my stretch.
So as you can see, you can perform this in a seated position as well. And you can actually use your arm to give you a little bit more support.
So again, we're holding here for 20 seconds on this side before we change over. So we're nearly there. Again, if you feel too much of a stretch, feel free to ease it back a little bit. Okay, so we're going to change over there, go on to the other side. So right leg is going to step out, and again, this knee is going to bend as I sink down into my stretch. Sometimes one side of the body will feel tighter than the other, and that's fine. Listen to how your body feels, and you can stretch the areas that feel particularly tight to you. Every body is different, so go with how your body is feeling today. You're nearly there on that one. And you can ease it up and shake out the legs. Okay, so next up we're doing our calf stretch. So for this one I'm going to step my left foot forward, and then keeping the back leg straight, I'm going to bend this front leg in order to stretch my right calf. So I'm going to hold it there for 20 seconds before changing over.
So similar to the hamstring stretch, we're going to extend the leg out, and this time we're going to focus on really pulling the toes towards us so that we can get the stretch in the back of our leg.
Okay, so we're nearly there. 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to change over legs. So this time we're stepping forward with that right leg, keeping the back leg straight and bending the front leg so that we stretch that left calf muscle.
If you're not feeling it stretching through your calf, take a wider stance making sure that your heel is planted on the ground firmly.
Okay, again, we're nearly there, just 10 more seconds. So you should feel a nice stretch, but it shouldn't be too uncomfortable for you. So go with the right amount of stretch for you. Brilliant, that's the end of that stretch, so you can shake out those legs. Okay, so next up we're doing an upper body stretch. So it's for your tricep, the muscle down the back of the arm. So I'm going to reach my hand down my spine and then give it a little bit of a push with the other hand. So if you look at Rosie, you can see this demonstrated more clearly.
So we can still perform this one seated as well. Again, just make sure that you're keeping the core engaged, sitting as tall as you can, and only stretch to the place of mild discomfort.
So we've got a few more seconds to hold there before we change over. That's good, so shake out those arms and then we're going to switch over to the other side. So right hand is reaching down your spine and then you can use your left hand just to give it a little bit of an extra push. So again, these muscles are used in any pushing movement to assist our chest muscles. So it's really important that we stretch them out after we've done exercise to make sure they don't get tight and stiffen up. So a few more seconds. And release and shake out those arms. Okay, so next up we've got our forearm stretch. So it's a little bit of a funny one, so watch what we're doing here and follow our movements. So I'm going to reach my left hand forward, fingers pointing down towards the floor, and to get that stretch I'm just going to pull in. We're holding here for 20 seconds.
Yeah, so this forearm stretch is very good at the end of the day if you've been doing anything that requires you to grip a lot, such as carrying a shopping, pushing a shopping trolley. This will be very good for that as well.
Okay, so we're nearly there. 3, 2, 1, shake out those arms, and then we're going to go for the right side. So again, I'm reaching my hand forward, fingers point down towards the floor, and then I'm just going to pull in there to get a nice stretch.
Remember when you're standing, doing the stretch, to be looking forward with a good posture.
It's really easy to let your posture slip when you're thinking about stretching, so that's a really good point to make sure we're always standing tall. Good, and stretch out there. Okay, so next up we've got our neck stretch. So I'm going to gently tilt my head over to one side, and then if I want to add a little bit more stretch to this movement, I can use my hand to assist and just give it a gentle pull.
Yeah, so I'm doing the stretch without my hands because just generally taking the ears towards the shoulder is enough to get the stretch where we want it to be.
Again, we're holding for 20 seconds, so you've just got 5 more to hold there before we switch over to the other side. That's good. Give your neck a little bit of a shake, and then we're going to gently go over to the right hand side. And again, if you want to, this is where you can add a little bit of extra resistance by giving it a little gentle pull.
If you're standing while doing the stretch and you do feel a little bit dizzy, please feel free to do the seated stretch.
So we're nearly there. We're just going to hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and let that shake out. Okay, next up we have our shoulder stretch. So I'm going to start with the left arm, I'm going to reach it over towards my right hand side, and then just with the right hand, just going to give it a gentle pull in. Again, we're holding for 20 seconds here, and this is going to really help to stretch out the muscles in our shoulder.
And if you are seated, make sure that you sit up tall through the spine and keep that core engaged.
We're nearly there, we've got just under 10 seconds before we switch sides. 3, 2, 1, brilliant, give it a little shake, and then we're going right hand over towards the left hand side, and again just gently pulling in there.
When we are doing this exercise, remember to pull your arm across and make sure that it's tucked underneath your chin.
So we're nearly there, 10 more seconds. Sometimes this can feel like quite a difficult area to stretch, so just go with it and see where you feel the stretch according to your own body. There, that's 20 seconds on our shoulder stretch. Okay, so our last stretch of the day. So this one is shoulder circles. So for this one, we're going to start making little circles. We're going to go forward for 20 seconds.
So similar to what we did in warm up, I place my hands on my shoulders. We're creating small circles in a forward direction.
So keep going, we've got just under 10 seconds to keep going forward, and then we're going to shake it out and do some backwards rotations. Good, so that's our 20 seconds of forward rotations done. Last exercise of the day, we're going to put the hands out to the side and we're going backwards for another 20 seconds.
To progress on this stretch, do larger circles to get the full rotation in your shoulders. Remember to be looking straight ahead with good posture and lots of breathing.
So 5 more seconds, 3, 2, 1, and that is all your stretches complete. Well done everyone, including the warm-up and the cool-down, we've completed 30 minutes of exercise, which contributes towards your 150 minutes of recommended exercise per week.
You could undertake this workout a few times a week, along with some brisk walks and other activities, to ensure you're doing at least 30 minutes of exercise each day.
Remember, you can always increase your effort by following my movements next time you're doing the video. And try doing more repetitions of each exercise to really get your body moving.
We look forward to joining you for your next home workout.